Coming up on 5 Minute News. Democrats and abortion rights advocates celebrate wins in U.S. elections. The U.S. House votes to censure Representative Rashida Tlaiyeeb over Israel rhetoric. And NATO freezes a Cold War-era security pact after Russia pulls out. It's Wednesday, November 8. I'm Anthony Davis. Democrats and abortion rights advocates notched a string of electoral victories on Tuesday, including in conservative Ohio and Kentucky, an early signal that reproductive rights remain a potent issue for Democrats ahead of the 2024 presidential race. In Ohio, a state that voted for Donald Trump by 8 percentage points in the 2020 presidential election, approved a constitutional amendment guaranteeing abortion rights. The outcome extended an unbeaten streak for abortion access advocates since the U.S. Supreme Court's decision last year to overturn its 1972 Roe v. Wade ruling and eliminate a nationwide right to end pregnancies. In Virginia, Democrats appeared poised to hold their slim majority in the state Senate, which would allow them to continue blocking Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin's plan to pursue a ban on most abortions beyond 15 weeks after conception. And in Kentucky, Democratic Governor Andy Beshear won a second 4-year term, defying the conservative lean of a state that voted for Trump by more than 25 percentage points in 2020. The contests were among several across the U.S., offering critical clues about where the electorate stands less than 10 weeks before the Iowa presidential nominating contest kicks off the 2024 presidential campaign in earnest. The results could help assuage concerns among some national Democrats who are worried about President Joe Biden's unpopularity with voters. In a statement, Biden praised the Ohio result, saying, "Tonight, Americans once again voted to protect their fundamental freedoms, and democracy won." The House voted late Tuesday to censure Democratic Representative Rashida Tlaiyeeb of Michigan, the only Palestinian American in Congress, an extraordinary rebuke of her rhetoric about the Israel-Hamas war. The 234 tally came after enough Democrats joined with Republicans to censure Tlaieeb, a punishment one step below expulsion from the House. The 3-term Congresswoman has long been a target of criticism for her views on the decades-long conflict in the Middle East. The debate on the censure resolution on Tuesday afternoon was emotional and intense. Republican Rich McCormick of Georgia pushed the measure in response to what he called Tlaieeb's promotion of anti-Semitic rhetoric. With other Democrats standing by her side, Tlaieeb defended her stance. She added that her criticism of the Jewish state has always been directed toward its government and its leadership under Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. "It is important to separate people and government," she said. "The idea that criticizing the government of Israel is anti-Semitic sets a very dangerous precedent, and it's been used to silence diverse voices speaking up for human rights across our nation." The latest censure push resulted in a dramatic vote on the House floor amid political tensions over the ongoing deadly Israel-Hamas war. While the majority of both parties have historically stood firmly on the side of Israel, divisions have emerged in the Democratic Party about the American response. NATO member countries that signed a key Cold War-era security treaty froze their participation in the pact on Tuesday, just hours after Russia pulled out, raising fresh questions about the future of arms control agreements in Europe. Many of NATO's 31 allies are parties to the Treaty of Conventional Armed Forces in Europe, which was aimed at preventing Cold War rivals from massing forces at or near their mutual borders. The CFE was signed in November 1990 as the Soviet bloc was crumbling, but was not fully ratified until 2 years later. NATO said that Tuesday's action by its signatory members was required because a situation whereby allied state parties abide by the treaty while Russia does not would be unsustainable. Earlier in the day, Moscow said it had finalized its withdrawal from the treaty. The long-expected move, which the Kremlin blamed in part on NATO's continued expansion closer to Russia's borders, came after lawmakers in Moscow approved a bill proposed by President Vladimir Putin denouncing the CFE. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said, suspending the obligations by Washington and its allies will strengthen NATO's deterrence and defense capacity by removing restrictions that impact planning, deployments and exercises. Restrictions that no longer bind Russia after Moscow's withdrawal. Russia's actions further demonstrates Moscow's continued disregard for arms control. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.
A crazy schedule can make it easy to fall back into your dinnertime recipe rut. Keep mealtime exciting with over 40 recipes to choose from every week, so there's always something delicious to discover with HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. With so many in-season ingredients, you'll taste all the freshness of fall in every bite of HelloFresh's chef-crafted recipes. Produce travels from the farm to your door for peak ripeness you can taste. We all know HelloFresh takes the hassle out of mealtime, but did you know it can also save you money? HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout. That means less stress in your day and more money back in your pocket. HelloFresh makes cooking so easy and fast. It's something that I really need in my life and really look forward to. Go to hellofresh.com/55minute and use code 55minute for 50% off plus free shipping. That's hellofresh.com/55minute and use code 55minute for 50% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.